With the little pom-pom, you can get these little shiny pom-poms anywhere that sells Christmas decor. And we're going to cut a piece of this other thinner wire, probably about 4 inches. And it's good to cut this one actually on a little bit of an angle because you want this to be sharp and you want it to be able to poke through the pom-poms. So we've cut this end on a little bit of an angle so it's sharp, and then we're going to take our round pliers and we're going to actually make a loop here. So we want to go like a loop around like that because it has to be a good size loop because you don't want it to go right through the pom-pom. The idea, you want it to get anchored in the pom-pom. So there we've got our little loop, and then we're going to get our pom-pom. This part's a little bit tricky because you want to really make sure it's centered, and because the middle of the pom-pom is usually very dense, you're going to just slowly and carefully wiggle it back and forth like that. And you want to go very slowly so the wire doesn't bend, and that's why you've cut it on a bit of an angle, so it will actually cut its way through the pom-pom. So if you're working with kids, you want to do this part yourself because you really don't want them to poke themselves. So now it's come through to the other end, and we're going to make sure it's anchored in place. Give it a little tug to make sure it's anchored, otherwise you'll have to try to recenter it. So now that it's nice and centered in there and secure, we're going to put on our beads. I'm just using some plastic beads, but you can use any kind of beads that you like. These are about 6 millimeters wide. So we've got our beads. Now because this wire is a little thinner, I'm not going to just cut it short and do a single loop. I'm actually going to hold the beads and back this up at a bit of an angle, create my loop, twist this around to create the loop. But because I'm worried it'll come undone because it's a little thinner, I'm going to do a complete circle around. And then I'm going to cut it snugly in there. And then I will add my hook on there. And we'll just close up the hook like that. And here we have our little pom-pom earrings.